What up, y'all? Mrs. Z Nation, aka Savage Humber Jones Giraffe. Welcome to another episode of the Megacolony Trap House podcast. Man, it's been a long time since I have done anything, it's been a long time since I've done anything content wise because I've been very slow on content. I think it's almost half of 2022. And I think at most I did maybe 6 videos. Damn, I'm very slow at this right now, and a lot of shit's been happening. So, we definitely going to get into that. So, today's topics, before I get started with everything. Topic number 1, Mr. Zoo Nation, where the fuck have you been? That's going to be topic number 1. Number 2, we're going to be talking about Ordercolony. Because I honestly feel like that Ordercolony isn't what people are making it out to be. Last but not least, is going to be a topic that I should have been doing since February. It's going to be about, in my personal opinion, what Vanguard can do, what Bushiroad can do to improve Vanguard. That's just going to be number 3. So, let's recap for a second. Number 1, where the fuck have I been? Number 2, Ordercolony. Last but not least, what can Bushiroad do to increase the value of Cardfight Vanguard? Without being said, all right, man, let's get this started. It's been a while since I've done all this, so excuse my French. But I know that everybody who is subscribed to me is trying to wonder, Mr. Zoo Nation, where the fuck have you been? Alright, I'm gonna be real with you. The simple answer, I'm burnt out. I am burnt out. That is the most simplest answer that I can actually give everybody right now. I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out on making videos. And that's actually about it. I'm just burnt out on making videos. The long answer is not the fact that I'm not really wanting to make videos anymore. That's not the point of this. That was never the point. The thing that's burning me out is work. My day-to-day job that I go to is the reason why I am burnt out. And let me explain in detail why this is the case. Alright, so I'm gonna be real with you. This whole scheduling thing where I'm trying to schedule certain things to talk about and everything else like that, I'm starting to notice, man, my work likes to cock block that a lot. And the reason being is because my schedule changes. And it doesn't change often, but it has been conveniently changing a lot and at the wrong time. All the time. I'm be real with you. It has been changing at the wrongest time. Let me explain a little bit further. Okay. The reason being is because when I made those schedules, it was because it has been about 2 or 3 months since I was at a current work schedule, because my work schedule barely changes. So I'm like, okay, I know for a fact that I'm free this day, this day, this day, and this day. I'm going to use at least one of those days to record all the videos, edit all the videos, and put them up on the days that they need to get put up. And I know for a fact that there's certain days where I just have to rest because I will be mad exhausted at times. And taking one of the off days to rest is definitely something that I have to do from time to time. At the same time, my work also likes to call me in at the last minute because we do have a couple of workers who, sometimes people call off and they need somebody to fill in the position. So sometimes I'm all like, okay, maybe I need like money to buy something or something like that. So I guess like I'll take those particular chances. And sometimes those days will usually be the recording days, which sucks ass, but it happens. It just shit happens. But if I had to give a very good example of this, if I had to give a very good example of this, it would definitely be last year, February, 2021 February. So remember, like at the end of January, we got the announcement of Overdress, and we got the announcement of Overdress. We know for a fact it's been confirmed that we're going to do a second reboot. Something that in October 2021, people realized that we didn't really need a second reboot, but it happened, so we can't really do nothing about it. But anyway, my idea, I had two ideas. The first one was that my birthday was coming up on I don't remember if it was a Friday or a Saturday. It's too hard to tell because it's been so long. But if I remember no, it was a Saturday. It was a Saturday. I remember now. My birthday was coming on a Saturday, and it was the first Saturday of March. And my thing was this. I was like, I want to do something a little bit interesting for my channel on my birthday. So I decided that I was going to do two particular projects. A farewell project for the first reboot, and a project specifically talking about my most favorite clan, which, if you haven't guessed it, is Megacolony. So I came up with this plan to do these series of videos every Monday and Friday. Monday will be the Haters Guide for the farewell to, the first reboot. And, the second and Friday will be about Megacolony. It will be like, okay, I'm going to do this for my particular favorite clan, and then it's all going to lead into the first week of March, because guess what? First week of March, I'll be done with the other series, and then for Megacolony on my birthday, I would do a special video where I would ask people who, people in the Megacolony community, hey, I want to see your deck list, I want to react to it for my birthday, and I will credit you for said deck list, and that was pretty fun. It was like an hour over what I wanted to do. I mean, it was a little bit over an hour. I wasn't expecting it to be an hour though, but it was. But anyway, it was fun. It was a fun video that I wanted to do, and I had fun with it. I really did. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. And I really wanted to do that again this year though, but a lot of shit was happening, so I couldn't do it. But anyway, the video project was for the Haters Guide. It was like a special thing that I wanted to do, where each week I talk about my honest opinion on every single clan in the game. But because there's 24 clans and I didn't want to put it into like an hour-long video, I decided, hey, let's separate this by nation. So week 1 would have been the United Sanctuary. Week 2 would have been Dragonic Empire. Week 3 would have been Dark Zone. Week 4 would have been a combination of the Magnolia and Megalion, or whatever it's called, and the water place and shit, and Stargate, because both of them had 3 clans each. And then on the first week of March would have been the Zoo Nation in particular. that's how it was going to go. Each week, whatever topic I was going to do, I was going to talk about my honest opinions of those clans, because once we got overdressed, the main focus was going to be the nations, not the clans. So this would have been a perfect opportunity to, vent out my frustrations going against each clan, what I thought about each clan, what I felt like each clan could have had to made it 10 times better and whatnot. And this was all cool. I had it set out. I set all of this out on the last week of January. I remember I also put out like a thing on my Facebook page saying that, hey, I'm gonna do this and do something special and whatnot. And then on Friday was going to be a special thing where since Megacolony is my most favorite clan, I would talk about, hey, I'll talk about each version of Megacolony and be like, okay, well, this and that was, I'll talk about like what the clan, what that particular version of the clan does, what I thought about how Bushiroad handled it, and then like at the end of it, I'll come out with like a deck list and be like, hey, this is how I would have built the deck in at that particular time and whatnot, and it was fun. It was fun. It was kind of fun, but it was also very fucking stressful. I will admit that. And the reason why it was very stressful was because the day that I was going to start recording, because like I said before, I started this at the end of fucking January. I was like, okay, I know for a fact that these days I'll be off. These were the days that I'm going to be recording and all this other stuff and, try to do all that. Guess what happened? The job wants to fucking change the schedule, and it is the worst fucking schedule change that I've ever seen. I hated that schedule at that time period. That shit was bullshit. And let me explain let me tell you what the fucking schedule was. Let me tell you the thing that I did not like about this fucking schedule. Let me tell you. Okay, actually, let me give quick context. I work night shift. All of my shifts are closing shifts. So I'm always working. It's all like I'm always working at night. I'm always closing shift. For some fucking reason, they said, hey, and I remember that this was Monday and Tuesday that I was supposed to be working. I remember this. They were like, yo, we need you to do your regular hours on Monday, which is closing. And then on Tuesday, we need you to open the store. What the fuck? Seriously. I hated those schedules. And it wasn't just this particular job that I had to do this schedule. It was also, I used to work for Target. I will admit that. I used to work for fucking Target. And I used to do that shit too. I didn't always work night shift at Target. But when I did, they will pull some bullshit like that. They'll be like, oh, we need you to close, and then we need you to open the exact next day. But the Target one was worse, because at least in this job, at least the store closes at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock at night, that's when the job closes. Okay, those are pretty decent hours. It's not too late, it's not too early. It's an understandable hour to close the store. The Target that I worked at, that shit closed at midnight. And you know when that shit opened? That shit opened 8 o'clock in the fucking morning. So yeah, you know how dumb it is to close at midnight and then come back to work at 8 o'clock? That is bullshit. I'm like, bruh, can I just sleep over in the fucking place? And they're like, no, you can't do that. Why the fuck not? I gotta come back here in 4 hours. That's so dumb. I hate it when doing, excuse me, I hated doing schedules like that. And usually I have Tuesdays off, so I'm like, okay, Tuesday is gonna be the day where I actually start editing videos, where I start recording videos and all that other stuff. And I will admit, for the first 2 weeks, because I had to I had to adjust to the schedule now. For the first 2 weeks, it was all hell because I was mad tired, I was mad exhausted, and everything else like that. It was so fucking dumb. And I was like, okay, that's pretty dumb. That's pretty dumb. I was like, so it was hard to keep up with that schedule, hard to keep everything in check. And if I remember correctly, I think I even missed a couple of days. I think like one of the Megacolony ones ended up on Saturday instead of Friday, and I think one of the Haters Guy one ended up on Wednesday instead of Monday because of that fucking schedule change. It's so dumb. I will admit that it's hella dumb. It was hella stressful, and I was on the struggle for a bit. And you know what happened when after I did the birthday video, which took like a long ass time. You know what happened after I did the birthday video? I think I took like a month break. I don't think I uploaded again until like maybe like halfway through April, because I was that exhausted and that burnt out. Because that was so stressful trying to go through that schedule change and trying to adjust to everything. It was so dumb. But then then I have the current schedule that I have right now, which was like, oh, Mondays is Hater Guy Mondays, Wednesdays is gonna be deck building Wednesdays, Friday is gonna be the podcast, and if I can't come up with a schedule with any of those, then I'll replace it with the Dark Device, or replace it with something else. But instead, you know what happened when I made that schedule? The exact same thing happened. The days I knew I was going to record were nowadays I had to work and everything else like that, and it just threw me the hell off. And right now you see I haven't really been keeping up with anything. Why? Because I'm burnt out trying to fight this struggle between trying to keep up a schedule and trying to, keep up with the worst schedule at the same time, and trying to at the same time get rest and actually play fucking card games for once. I'm gonna be spending money on card games. I gotta play it somehow. But yeah, that's where the fuck I've been. I have been burnt out for no apparent reason, but I'm back now. It's cool. I'm going to at least try to keep up with everything, because I already know the moment I come out with another schedule, that's when the job's going to cock block my ass. But that's aside. But I'm gonna just put a disclaimer here right now. That doesn't necessarily mean I hate the job 100%. I don't hate the job 100%. Matter of fact, I am blessing God every single day that I actually have a job, because I refuse to be one of these bum ass niggas who over there talking about, oh, I can't find it, I don't want to, I don't want to work, I don't want to find a job and stuff like that. Nah, I refuse to be one of them, bro. I refuse to be one of them. And you know what? I have to thank that job every day too, because at least they gave me a chance when nobody else would. But with all that being said, I spent enough time on it. I was only expecting to spend 10 minutes on it, but I spent more than 10 minutes. But anyway, let's talk about Ordercolony. Because Ordercolony has been... It's been getting on a lot of people's nerves. It's been the talk of the town for about a few months now. It's even gotten to a point where a lot of people want Empress Gridor gone. And I'm gonna just say this right now, as a person who has been playing Megacolony since 2014 and is finally seeing Megacolony in the spotlight for once, and at the same time seeing Megacolony actually being the talk of the town instead of being like the one that everybody's calling it a dog shit clan, even then I feel like Ordercolony is ass. I'm sorry, but Ordercolony is ass. It's all and I know for a fact that tournament results matter. Trust me, tournament results matter. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. But the public reception of Ordercolony, I feel like is ass. Because yes, it's a good deck. Yes, it's getting tournament results. Yes, it is a pain in the ass to go against. But I don't like the structure of the deck, if that makes any sense. I don't like the structure. It's all like it gets results, but I don't like how fragile the deck really is. Because let's be real, if Bushiroad was to tomorrow come out with an emergency ban list and say, oh, fabricated dragon and ruination is at 0 on in premium format. It's banned in premium format. Or they say like, oh God forbid, you know, Empress Ghidorah is at 0. In my personal opinion, I feel like Empress Ghidorah should be at 1 and Fabricated Dragon should be at 0. But I'll get to that in a minute. Let's say Fabricated Dragon and Ruination is at 0, right? That deck dies. Like, that deck is literally useless. Like, everybody over there trying to fight for like the shadow, whatever that dog shit card is, and everybody trying to fight for all the order cards and whatnot, and everybody talking about this, talking shit about Empress Ghidorah and all this other stuff. Nah. That is all like the deck dies. It's all like the deck literally the deck is literally constructed under 2 cards. Fabricated Dragon and Empress Ghidorah. That is it. That's all the deck does. The only reason why the deck actually has some type the only reason why the deck has some type of, you know, clout the way it's getting right now is because Empress Ghidorah is carrying that whole particular like deck on her back. That's the only reason. She's only carrying that deck on the back because, oh, you can't call stuff that's not from hand, and you can't use your G Guardians. But we can use this busted ass order card, this fucking book. We can just throw this book at my opponent's fucking face and be all like, oh, we're just gonna face roll and actually fucking actually get like the win and whatnot. That's the only thing the deck fucking does. It does it correctly, yes, but it is a fragile fucking deck. It is going to die the moment Fabricated Dragon of Ruination, you know, dies. Or let's actually talk about Empress Ghidorah for a second. Let's talk about Empress Ghidorah for a second. Yes, maybe she probably has to go because the Megacolony now has a main deck and she's gonna start causing issues and all this other stuff. But let's hypothetically say we get rid of Empress Ghidorah. The deck still dies. I don't give a fuck what anybody say. The deck still dies. You want to know why? Because you don't have protection from shit like Kagero. You don't have protection from shit like Link Joker. You don't have protection from shit like from other clans. You're going to get fucking steamrolled. Oh, you didn't kill off Pale Moon? They're going to steamroll your ass. That's all they're going to really do. And yes, while I will admit the new stride fucking slaps. The new stride's actually pretty good. But let's be real. It is not going to carry Ordercolony. It's going to carry all the other Megacolony decks because they don't focus on a fucking gimmick such as abusing order cards from the graveyard. They actually play the fucking game. But what does Ordercolony do? Oh no. Oh, we just gonna try to abuse order cards and at the same time make sure you don't play the game at all because Empress Ghidorah said so. That's all the deck really does. And I know like the last thing everybody I mean, I know like the last thing I need to calm down for a second. I know the last thing anybody wants to hear is those magic words. Learn the matchup. Like a lot of people don't like wanting to hear learning the matchup and adapt to the matchup and adapt to the situation and all this other stuff because let's be real, there are certain decks that can't really adapt to the situation because the lockdown is that powerful. And that does interrupt anybody from actually playing the game, which is understandable. At the same time, can you at least have common sense trying to adapt to the matchup until we can get this shit figured out? Because, I mean, let's be real. You know for a fact Empress Ghidorah actually exists, right? You know for a fact that Empress Ghidorah actually, you know for a fact that Empress Ghidorah actually, you know, it stuns everything on your field, and you can't really restand anything, on your standby phase, right? You know for damn well your first instinct should be keeping a grade 3 in hand at all times. Even if it has to be the Hill Guardian. Even if it has to be the Hill Guardian, keep a grade 3 at all times. Because the last thing you don't want to do, is have a turn where you can't ride into anything and you're not gaining any hand power or anything else like that. Especially if you're playing a clan that tries to get stuff from other places. Like how Grand Blue gets stuff from the drop zone, like how Gold Paladin gets stuff from the deck, like how Pale Moon gets stuff from the, you know, from the soul, and like how Angel Feathers get stuff from the damage zone. You know, at least keep a grade 3 in hand. It won't make the matchup any better, but at least you'll be able to play. And I don't understand why everybody can't fabricate that. No pun intended. But I'm just saying, man, like, yes, the deck is actually good. Do I believe the deck needs to die? Yes, the fuck that deck needs to die. I will admit that. As a Megacolony main, I will admit that that shit needs to die. But I still feel like that a lot of people are giving the deck, like Matt, too much credit. In my personal opinion, because like I said, it's literally only driven by 2 fucking cards, Fabricated and Empress Ghidorah. But let me talk about, on the second half, let me talk about why I feel like Empress Ghidorah should be at 1 and Fabricated Dragon should be at 0. And I know some people are gonna be thinking, oh, well, you're just trying to defend it and you're trying to, you know, you're trying to prevent the inevitable and all this other stuff. I understand that. But keeping Empress Ghidorah at 1 actually feels a lot more fair than you think. Because like I mentioned before, you know for a fact that going against Megacolony, you know for a fact you have to keep a grade 3 in hand at all times. Because my thing is this, if like you're going against, like, let's say Nubatama for a prime example, you're gonna prepare for fucking Rene. Like, there's no ands or buts about it. You're gonna prepare to fight against Rene. So it's like, it's kind of sort of like the exact same thing. Is it a bitch to do? Yes, I definitely feel like it is a bitch. It is a bitch to go against Rene and all this other stuff. But I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like that it'll be slightly unfair. No. Let me not say that. That sounds pretty bad. That already started out pretty badly. But I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like that Empress Ghidorah at 1 will be at least somewhat fair, because then that will give the Megacolony one particular turn to kill off the opponent. And so far, by the track record that I am seeing through most Megacolony players, especially the bandwagon Ordercolony players, you know for damn well they can't do that without Ordercolony. Because you already know, once Ordercolony dies down, you're not really going to see Megacolony like that anymore. You're going to see it like a little bit here and there, because you got people like me who like dick rides the deck like the death, but like no homo. But at the same time, it's like, you're still going to see people doing all that. You're still going to see people play it because let's be real, there has been more Megacolony decks than just fucking Order Colony that has actually been topic. Because like I remember like California, if I remember correctly, had a G era Gridora. They were using old school Gridora in made like top 4 with old school Gridora. And then you have my homie, the person that I actually know from from the other tournament that topped with Giraffa. You know, the dude makes badass decks. The dude is it's all like when it comes to fucking Megacolony, this dude has Black Air Force energy. I shit you not. When it comes to Megacolony, this dude has Black Air Force energy. Nigga's a menace. It's all like I've been talking to this dude for about like a couple of years now. Nigga's a menace, bro. When it comes to structured Megacolony deck, nigga's a menace. There's like no ands or buts about it. Bro's a menace. So, you know what? I'm not even surprised that he was one of the very few people who decided not to use Order Colony and to actually play Megacolony like a fucking Chad. And actually fucking topped and stuff like that, man. That was actually pretty good, man. I was actually hella happy. He was giving me updates and all this other stuff. I was like, oh shit. It's all like, I will admit, it's all like, I will admit, man, I kind of wish I did have a chance to actually at least like top with Megacolony as well, but I couldn't even make it to that particular region, that California regionals. But hey, man, to all the people, or to all the Megacolony players who's been like topping with Megacolony, bruh, you have my respect, my guy. Order Colony, even though I don't hate the clan, the fact that you at least gave the clan an attention, and at least it's actually pretty funny seeing like all like the major Vanguard YouTubers actually going into their regionals with Order Colony. I think that's actually pretty hilarious to me. But yeah, man, honestly, I personally don't like Order Colony as a deck as a whole. I don't really like it that much. It doesn't feel like a Megacolony deck. It doesn't really feel great to use at times. I have used it a couple of times. It's okay. I mean, like I said, it's getting results, and tournament results definitely matter. But like I said before, when it comes to Empress Gridora, I want to see it. I want to see how she works at 1. It's all like Megacolony obviously have other 2s. We got Overwhelm. We have whack ass Optyrannus. I'm gonna be real with you. Optyrannus is a meh card to me. Like, it's not like the best. It's not the worst though, but it gets the job done when it gets the job done. Then we get that sexy ass new Stride. So honestly, if Empress Gridora tends to levitate out the thing, then honestly, I really wouldn't care that much, to be honest. I mean, I will admit that I will admit I will slightly care, because there's other strides that are like kind of slightly worse that still survives. Like, for prime example, I used Rene earlier. You have Chaos Breaker Deluge. And before anybody says, oh, Chaos Breaker ain't doing shit, why are you going to bring that up? It still exists, my nigga. It still exists. So don't even, it's all like, it might not be doing something now, but watch, they're going to get something, they're going to be getting something that's going to like tear everybody's ass up. And then they're going to be all like, oh, you know, we were kind of wrong on that though. But it's going to happen eventually. But I'm still all like, Deluge still exists. So you can say all that shit about, oh, Link Joker ain't doing nothing right now. I don't care. That shit still exists. It's eventually going to recrank. regain his crown eventually at one particular point. It's just not going to be at this particular moment. And then of course you have what's his face? Who was it that I was thinking of earlier? Because I remember there was like one more card that I was thinking of. Oh, fucking Heritage! Fucking Heritage! How do people forget that Heritage exists? That nigga takes a whole nother turn for fucking free! For fucking free! He takes a whole nother turn. But anyway, that's enough about Ordercolony. I'm done with that. Let's talk about this last particular topic. Something that I should have talked about since February, but I'll explain why I actually decided to change the subject at the last moment. Cause here's the thing. My friend sent me a video. He has been on the channel before, doing a few fights here and there. I think there was like a collab video we actually did once. I remember because it was like me, him, and Panda and whatnot. And I remember that was like that same video where this nigga Panda was all like, "Oh, Blade Master is still tier 6." That still trips me up, man. That was like one of the funniest things that nigga said. But anyway. My homie, he actually showed me this video that I didn't see when it first came out, but after looking at it, I was like, yo, this video is pretty fire. So it was basically this guy that was talking about, this was like around August or September of last year, where he talked about why people should play Cardfight Vanguard. And he was bringing up this point to why Vanguard was a little bit different compared to other card games, and why everybody was playing the game and all this other stuff, and anybody who hasn't tried Vanguard needs to try it out and stuff. It was basically pretty interesting, and he went through he went through a little bit of the history of it, and explaining why Bushiroad gave it a third chance with the second reboot and all this other stuff. And towards the end it did get a little pretty emotional as a veteran and whatnot. But I was thinking like, yo, this is actually pretty fire. I don't understand why I didn't run into this video sooner, but man, I actually liked it a lot. And he was saying like, why don't you tell everybody what, in your personal opinion, you feel like Vanguard can improve on? So I was thinking for a little bit. I had like a couple of scripts here and there, and then one day when I was like doing something, I forgot exactly what I was doing. I had like a little bit of a thought, and it was going to be a very, very risky thought, because if it went wrong, I knew for a fact that everybody in the Vanguard community, everybody and possibly people from other parts of the TCG community in general was going to come after my ass. I knew for a fact that it was going to happen if I didn't make my point clear, if I didn't make the video 100% correct, or at least convincing enough to people from other parts of the TCG community. And here what my point was. I was going to make an attempt to say that Vanguard deserved to sit at the exact same table as Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, and Pokemon. Now, the reason why I said this is because I don't believe Vanguard... I believe Vanguard has a lot of potential to become one of the greatest card games to ever, hit the face of the TCG market. At the same time, I do not believe that it will be strong enough on its own to take over either Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or Magic. Because let's be real, all three of those card games at one particular point did hit an all-time low in the last 3 to 4 years. And if Vanguard wasn't strong enough to take that over, I don't think they'll ever do it at this particular point. Especially seeing that a lot of people outside of the Vanguard community and even people inside the Vanguard community would have been like, why would this card game be part of the big three? It had 2 reboots. That is all you had to say, and I would shut down that whole thing of Vanguard taking over the big 3 card games completely. So I thought of an alternative. Maybe the card game is strong enough to sit at the exact same table. And the reason why I said that in the 3 points that I was going to make was it had a longevity, because let's be real, any card game from overseas that's not Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh does not last long overseas. But Vanguard so happened to last at least 10 years overseas. So that means it's doing something right. And then the second one was going to be it was like accessibility. Because in my personal opinion, I feel like if there's any bread and butter that any card game needs, is accessibility. Accessibility for people who are budget players, and accessibility for people trying to get into the game, like fundamentals. And I feel like that should be fundamental for every single card game, is accessibility. I shit you not. That should be fundamental for every single card game. And I felt like Vanguard at the time that I was making that video had near perfect accessibility. It's a card game that's very easy to get into, a card game that's very easy to learn. It has a format specifically for people trying to get into the card game, and investing into other formats such as V Premium and Premium format is not that hard to do. That's why I was like, hey, maybe this will make sense to a lot of people. But then I thought about a few other things. For a prime example, while yes, a lot of that is true, at the same time, you also got to remember a few things, such as it has 2 reboots. There's simplistic things that Bushiroad won't do in order to improve the card game, which are going to be the things that I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes. There's also the fact that it's very hard to convince somebody that this card game isn't a luck-based card game. Because when you look at Vanguard from a surface level, it looks like a game that has no skill to it. Because nobody likes the huge amount of luck factor that Vanguard has to offer. But at the same time, when you look, that's only the tip of the iceberg of Vanguard. When you look at it from a more technical standpoint, Vanguard is more like poker and blackjack, in my personal opinion. It's more like poker and blackjack because it may look like that the game is a luck-based game, but in reality, you're counting cards. There's skill to it. It's all like, that's why like in casinos, like it's, in technicality it's illegal, to count cards and whatnot. It's not like it's illegal. It's more like a hidden house rule at a casino, like however the hell you want to put it. But counting cards in blackjack in your favor is a thing, and the same thing for poker. Counting cards in poker is kind of sort of the exact same thing as well. So, my thing is this. When you think about the structure of how Vanguard is when it comes from a deck building standpoint, it's way different than the decks in the big three. And let me explain what makes it different. See, In Magic the Gathering, the minimum is 60 cards, in a deck. And if you're playing EDH, it's 100 cards maximum. It's all like it's 100 cards straight. When it comes to Pokemon, it's 60 cards straight. When it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a minimum of 40 cards and a maximum of 60 cards. But what does all three of those card games have in common when it comes to deck structure? It's basically the type of cards that you put in the deck that actually makes it, that makes it like the exact same. So, for a prime example, in Yu-Gi-Oh, it does not matter how many monsters you put into the deck. It doesn't matter how many spell cards you put into the deck. It doesn't matter how many track cards you put into the deck. As long as it abides by the ban list and it abides by the deck being a minimum of 40 and a maximum of 60, you can put as many monsters, as many spells, as many track cards in any type of ratio as you want in the deck. And the same thing goes for Magic when it comes to the creatures, the sorceries, the instants, the enchantments, the artifacts, the planeswalkers, and the land cards. It doesn't matter how many you put in there, as long as it abides to the ban list, as long as it abides to that 60 card minimum, you're able to do it. And the same thing with Pokemon. Doesn't matter about the trainer cards, doesn't matter about the Pokemon itself, it doesn't matter about the energy cards into it. As long as it abides to the 60 card limit, you can put as many in the ratios as you want to. But look at a game like Cardfight Vanguard. You know how their deck structure is? You have to have a maximum of 16 triggers. They are mandatory. It is mandatory for you to have 16 triggers in the deck. The deck can only be 50 cards, no more, no less. And then at the same time, you put everything else once you put the triggers in the deck, which is, I think it's like 40. Wait, 40. Okay, so 34 cards. Yeah, 34 cards. The 34 cards can be whatever ratio you want it to be, from grade 0 to 4 or 5 if you're playing fucking Genesis. But anyway, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. In your main deck, 50 cards, 16 of them has to be triggers. And of course, you have to have certain number of certain cards. Like, you can only have 4 heal triggers maximum. You can only have 4 sentinels of any kind maximum. You can only have 1 over trigger if you're not playing V Premium. It's all like, you have to have specifics of certain cards in the deck. And you want to know why? Because you are counting cards. That's the reason. You're counting cards. You're counting how many triggers you think are left in the deck, how many triggers are outside of the deck. You're counting how often your opponent can actually hit a heal trigger. You're counting if they actually hit that over trigger or it's in their hand. You're counting the possibilities of whatever trigger is going to hit, the possibility of any trigger to hit. You know for a fact that 16 triggers are the limit in your fucking deck. So if your opponent has 14 triggers outside of the deck, that means those other 2 triggers are either inside the deck or they're in his hand, or in their hand. It's all like, that's how the fucking game works. It's all like, it is a numbers game. It is a game of counting cards. That's basically where the skill level in Vanguard comes from. But it's all like, and I had all of this in mind. I was like, yo, this is going to be a pretty fire video. It's going to be very controversial, but it's actually going to be pretty fire. And then something told me when I was editing the video, this ain't right. This doesn't sound right. I feel like that there's a lot of flaws in my logic. So you know what? I scrapped it. I scrapped the video and I decided to start all over. And then of course work got in the way. But I decided to start all over. I decided to rethink my thoughts. And I was like, you know what? That was too risky. And at the same time, it didn't make sense after a while. So I decided that I was going to go for my original approach of what I believe you can fix in the game of Vanguard. And after thinking about it, it was a lot more simpler than I fucking thought. And I'm mad at that. It was a lot more simple. It is very simple. It is something that can be a huge and easy fix. All I had to do was say that Vanguard needed two things in particular. A better way to do their ban list and a fucking Vanguard simulator. Now, if anybody remembers who's been in the channel for a while, you know for a fact that I was against the idea of Vanguard having a simulator because I didn't trust how Bushiroad did their simulators. When you look at the 3DS games, when you look at when you look at Vanguard EX and all that, and then when you look at how they did Vanguard Zero, it's all like in how they did Vanguard Online. I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, I don't trust it. But I came up with an interesting ass idea that I think would kind of work, but I feel like this is also one of those paper theories where it looks like it works on paper, but in reality it doesn't. Let me explain. Okay, so we need a Vanguard simulator bad. Something that is not Vanguard Zero. Something that is kind of sort of similar to what they did with Vanguard EX, but instead of having it just standard format, they need to put all three formats. So overdress format, V premium, and premium format, put the whole car pool in there, and you know, basically run it like a regular simulator. Because let's be real, if there was something that Vanguard doesn't have that they can simply make that the other three card games have, is a simulator. Because Pokemon TCG, they had a simulator for a very long time. You have Magic Arena, that's been around for a bit. You have Master Duel. Master Duel got people who wanted to have nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh anymore to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh. That's how powerful Master Duel was. It was so powerful that people who swore off the game years ago because they didn't want to deal with the bullshit that Yu-Gi-Oh was doing, the amount of people who quit the game around the time Link Summoning came out because nobody didn't want to deal with that shit, they all came back to the game because of Master Duel. If that's not a sign for fucking Bushiroad to say, hey, maybe we need to make a simulator for Vanguard so we can get more people into Vanguard. That's fucking common sense. That's common sense. I'm sorry, that is common fucking sense. How do you not see that? It's right there in your eyes. You're literally not making money by not doing that. And I know what some people are gonna say. Oh well, they don't think it'll really do that well overseas. Bullshit. The 3DS games have existed for a long time. You have people literally going out their way to buy a Japanese 3DS to play the game. You had a lot of people who they knew for a fact that they weren't going to translate Vanguard EX. A lot of people overseas still bought that shit. They used Google Lens or however the hell you want to do it to, you know, memorize everything and to translate the cards and everything else like that. There's the dedication is right there. The demand is right there. And Bushiroad ain't doing nothing about it. And I don't understand that. See, that's one of the major reasons why I think that the whole thing about Vanguard being in the same So like that's one of the reasons why I don't think that Vanguard can really take over the big three, because they make simple mistakes like that. Oh, but no, we still got Vanguard Zero. Fuck Vanguard Zero. Fuck that game. That game is ass. The only thing that I can give credit, the only credit that I can give to Vanguard Zero is the fact that there was at least people who started the game since V Series actually have somewhat of an interest of retro Vanguard support. That was the only thing I can give it credit for. But outside of that, the game does not feel like Vanguard. The game is complete and utter trash. But moving on, let's talk about this simulator. We need a Vanguard simulator. And before I continue, this is no disrespect to, the Cardfight area people. They definitely held it down for a long time, but we need something with more manual, with more automatic play instead of manual, because let's be real, not everybody knows rules and whatnot, but they have been holding it down, so you definitely got to give credit where credit is due. But we need a Vanguard simulator, something like Master Duel, something like Magic Arena, something like Pokemon TCG. This will not only please the fan base and actually have them test out decks, but this at least gives other people a chance who hasn't heard of Vanguard or anything else actually attempt to download the game, actually attempt to play Vanguard. And then of course they're going to start buying the cards in real life, because they're going to be all like, oh, I played it. It's all like, this is my first time playing the game like in real life though, but I played like Vanguard, whatever the simulator name is going to be, and all this other stuff. That's definitely going to be a thing. But what about the other idea that I had? So remember earlier when I said that Bushiroad needs better ban list management? Here's something that I feel like the other card games hasn't done yet, that Vanguard could take complete advantage of. I have a theory of how they can do this. We're going to call this the experimental ban list. It's exactly how it sounds, but this is exactly how it's going to go. So you get into your Vanguard simulator, right? There's going to be an online mode where, for let's say let's say this came out like tomorrow. Let's say this game came out tomorrow, but they wanted to make an official ban list for June, right? Alright, so what they can do is, for the first 2 weeks of June, you have this special online mode, which is going to be called the experimental mode, where that particular mode, you have a deck that is going to go by a temporary ban list. A ban list where something is either hit, something is either fixed, or anything else like that. And then of course you play the game regularly on this particular thing, you see how the field goes, and then at the same time, whatever matches happen, those matches are going to be recorded, and then they're going to be brought to the Bushiroad headquarters or whatnot, or anybody who's like looking at the simulator or whatnot, and they're going to be all like, okay, well, we noticed that the deck that we hit in this particular ban list isn't doing so well, or this particular deck is still having problems, so maybe the cards that we hit isn't necessarily the problem or anything else like that. Instead, my thing, it's all like, the thing is that they'll be like, okay, well, we're noticing from all these matches that the deck has definitely been a lot more fair to the public. So this might proceed to the decision of actually hitting said card. And then at the same time, like after the 2 week period is over, they spend the next week sending people emails like, hey, we want your feedback on this experimental ban list. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a good hit? Do you think it's a bad hit? Do you think there's something that needs to be hit that we missed or anything else like that? Basically the public becomes a test group for the upcoming ban list simply by playing on the simulator. That would be fucking wild. That would be amazing. And then, of course, like the final week of like June, that's when they're all like, oh, so because this particular card, made everybody playing the game like a lot more happier, we decided that we're going to officially ban this card. This will be a perfect opportunity for Bushiroad to take advantage of something that the other card game companies have not really done yet. And the reason being is because the community is involved with it. The community could test something out, and then we can finally get through everybody's head about like all these cards that needs to get hit and all that. Like, for a prime example, like earlier I was talking about, hey, why don't we hit Fabricated Dragon to 0? Why don't we hit Empress Gridora to 1 and see if Empress Gridora is still a problem? And we can use that in the experimental ban list. One of the major things that everybody was complaining about was the over triggers. We can use that in experimental ban list and be like, hey, let's see how premium format works without over triggers. Let's see if it's still diverse or it starts becoming as linear as V premium. We can see that and whatnot. We can see if that actually is going to be a thing. We can see if, let's say, Bushiroad hits Nightmare Doll Jenny, will Nightmare Doll still have a way to play, or will the deck completely die out? We can have stuff like that with this experimental ban list. So I feel like that this will not only solve a lot of the mysteries that we've been having for a while about the game of whether or not a card needs to get hit or not, but this will kill two birds in one stone. We can fix how Bushiroad actually handles the ban list and have a Vanguard simulator, something that people wanted for a long ass time. We can finally do all that. So yeah, honestly, at first I wasn't for a Vanguard simulator, but now thinking about it in that particular aspect, I think we definitely need one now. But that's about it, man. I've been talking for a long time, been like a little over an hour. That's typical podcast time though, but still. Anyway, thank you all for joining. Thank you all for showing up and everything else like that. Thank you for like listening to me talk and ramble and rant and all this other stuff. Hit the likes button, hit the subscribe button, do whatever. But thank you guys and everything for it. So with all that being said, my name is Mr. Zoo Nation, aka Savage Armor Jones Giraffe. This has been the Megacolony Trap House Podcast.